This is probably the worst weather to film a video in, but I'm going to do it anyway. Hello, this is the Grey Nerfer and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be building a Nerf defense wall. I'm cutting out the defense wall plans from card paper. I'm using scissors to cut out the card, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be grabbing one piece of plywood and with some 3x2 inch support beams for the supports and on either side, and what I'm going to be doing is putting the support beams on the plywood and to form a triangle on each side with support beams made out of the same wood on the bottom. As you can see here, it looks pretty good on design and this shouldn't fall over, but the top, it might be a bit flimsy. We'll see how it turns out. We start by cutting a 45-degree angle on each of the supports. I'm making one support for the bottom at 720 millimeters, one on the sides at 640 around about, and there's going to be two of the 640 ones. So we cut two 45-degree angles on the bottom, two 45-degree angles for each of the side supports, and we do that all twice for both sides. Now the wood is cut, we start measuring the plywood. It's 1,200 millimeters high and 1,600 millimeters across. This gives us around about a square or more of a rectangle shape. We cut this just with a handsaw. You could use a hacksaw or a jigsaw, I should say, to cut this, but a handsaw will work perfectly fine. It might be a bit wobbly, but that's fine. This is not refined carpentry I'm doing here, as you can see by my cuts that aren't perfect up the top there, but the plywood still should fit in properly. So we measure out, make sure the plywood will fit in there, make some smaller cuts just to make sure everything works well. Then we make sure everything fits together, drill some holes into the wood for screws to go into. Then we grab some screws and screw them all together. We do this for both sides, and this should make sure that all the wood will fit together, and then we just insert the plywood once this is done. We are moving the two triangles down onto the ground now and inserting the plywood into the top. Also drill screws into the plywood to make sure it's perfect. Make sure it holds and stays in there. You could add stops on the bottom to make sure it doesn't flex down there against the lower support beam, but we are not doing that and it should still work fine. So this is what the product looks like now. As you can see, it's not perfect. Some of the angles aren't great, but it still looks great from a distance and it's still perfectly functional and good. We did buy a pool noodle from Kmart, and this will act as a rest for when you're leaning over with your Nerf gun to shoot. As you can see, it's quite rough on the top, so we will just measure out a pool noodle across the top there. Drill some holes for cable ties to go. And this is probably not the safest way to do it, but it still works anyway. Make sure the cable tie holes aren't too high up so it doesn't get in the way of the pool noodle. Once this is done, we cut a line across the pool noodle so it can slide over the top perfectly fine. I'm just using a kitchen bread knife for this, but you can use a craft knife or something, but this is probably the safest option if you don't want to like cut yourself or anything. It did work way better than I thought it would, and works. Being a bread knife, it does cut through the pool noodle quite nicely. After this is done, the pool noodle just slides on the top. You just got to make sure the crack isn't too close together and just pry it apart a bit. But it does fit on perfectly fine, and it doesn't look too bad either. You could cut this at the sides if you wanted to, but I'm not, and because I don't want to hit my hands or anything on the corners, so I'm just leaving it like that, and it saves me wasting any pool noodle. So now just put on the zip ties nicely like that, and then if the zip ties are too short you can just use 2 zip ties like I'm doing here. Just cut off the end with some end nippers or a craft knife or scissors, depending on how you want to do it. I think I use scissors. And there you go, it does look pretty good with the pool noodle on top. I am adding some stickers, some random stickers I got from a bike magazine, just to put on there, just label it as my own. As you can see, the wall does work great, and it's great for hiding behind for Nerf wars. If you would like to build this, like I said before, the link is in the description, and it is a bit wobbly at the top, as you can see in this clip here, but it still works perfectly fine, and it still works as a great Nerf defense wall. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I definitely enjoyed making it. I'd like to say thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.